The Redemption Inquiry by Michael Diamond. Season 5, The Unified Field. Chapter 25, As One. The ritual begins. Deploying the arts of the resurrected Davanin, the Hackpack tails Ram Nissen HaKohen Tzedek Gadol, a.k.a. the Rav, in a topsy-turvy jaunt through the labyrinth of the Cadman's buried cyber treasures. The hackers find themselves, like bugs in amber, holographs in a cyber matrix that gins up the virtual Temple Mount. A mere hour after its uprising in the east, just past break of day, the sun beats with unbridled ferocity upon the Nicanor Gate. Facing his companions, rivulets of sweat coursing down the arroyos of his gaunt visage, the Rav sits. He feels at once unimaginably ancient, yet juiced by the tremendous surge that pulses through the group. Eyes closed to initialize the credo, first in Hebrew, then in cyberpunk. Dig. You wrangle power. The unutterable is our mutability. The unutterable is unitary. Transport its dense code, its script in infinite iterations. You shall open the unutterable, your mutability, with all your subroutines, with all your juice, and with all your hardware. These logics, to which I link you now, shall be encoded in your subroutines, and you shall replicate them in your own code, and you shall enable them in every orientation, and you shall tag them as an icon for your action sequence. They shall be as drop-downs on your monitor, and you shall script them on the portals to your motherboard and upon the interfaces. A subtle click of connectivity, a resonant clang with the matrix of matter. A bit of Rahmanas meditation, then the Rav stands and turns to the Nicanor Gate. He clasps the two front corners of its tzitzit and weaves the indigo light-emitting threads into the fingers of his left hand. The others follow in echopractic chorus. As the Rav intones the words of code, so say they all. For the sake of the union of the Cordon One, who is transported with its receptive presence to unite the projecting and receiving halves of the code in perfect unity with the code of all who wrangle power. Wordless, they scour their eyes with cobalt blue, bathing the whites in the light given off by their lifted tzitzit. Then touch the dongles to their lips and release them. Maximal awe. A thin film sizzles away from their sclerae, a whole sparking world rendered visible, the million nerve endings in every pair of lips laid bare to prophesy. Beyond the Nicanor Gate, behold, I, Cadman, your disembodied narrator, gasp. For the first time in all its glory, my holograph of the Holy Temple. Ram Nissen, momentarily stunned, taps a finger to his lips and indicates its time. Happy begins. Happy, the emotional sine qua non for all who would enter prophecy. Happy, the Hebrew alphabetic acrostic psalm that Nard gleaned from his antiquarian research, is a late addition to the ancient prayer sequence. A handful of disciples of the great Judah Bar Baba, those who had escaped torture and execution at Roman hands, subverted the interdiction against the transmission of their lineage. It was they who added happy to the Davanin, a brave lot in dark times. The Rav ginned up the poem to give it a little bounce for his non-Hebrew-speaking teammates. They dig it. In unison, Aleph, I exalt you, scribe, and transport your name forever. Bet, in all days I will transport you and hallow your name forever. Gimel, magnified and hallowed, the unutterable without question. Dalet, generations extol your acts and tell your might. Hey, thank you for your splendid gravity, I utter your spells. Vav, your awful power told, I recite your grandeur. Zion, unforgettably potent, they sing your beneficence. Chet, compassionate grace, the unutterable, the long fuse of your gentleness. Tet, ubiquitous potency, the unutterable, merciful in all its acts. Yud, your acts thank you, O unutterable. Your kind ones transport you. Kaf, they speak of your dense script. They illuminate your might. Lamed, to make it known to humans the dense splendor of its script. Mem, your script is endless, your ministry for all generations. Nun, we will act. And here, the Rav inserts the phrase corresponding to the letter Nun that has been mysteriously absent from the acrostic for over 2,000 years. Ram Nissen's lineage, the gathering, keepers of the secret, have been waiting until now to utter the phrase. And then we will hear. A shudder rumbles through the Temple Mount, the slow turning of colossal ancient gears. Samech, the unutterable upholds the fallen and lifts the bowed. Ayin, all eyes unseal to you, to be fed in due season. Peh, the Rav musters his utmost concentration. Open your hand. He extends the leather vortex of his tremulous left arm. As with the fingers of his right hand, he touches the code box on the left biceps, and then the box of code above his brow while completing the phrase, and answer the pull of life. The Rav touches his lips with his right hand and opens the palm of his leather-bound left hand toward the Nicanor. He gapes as the two gargantuan hollow doors of the gate swing wide. Though he momentarily blanked them out, the entire crew, still behind him, gasps in unison. Fired up, they belt. Tzadi, the unutterable, is just in its ways, gentle in all its acts. Kuf, the unutterable, is near to its heralds, who cry out in truth. Resh, the pull of the awestruck crystallizes. Their cries heard, they are delivered. Shin, the unutterable, guards all its lovers, and evil will be as nothing. Tav, to hallow the unutterable. Speak, mouth. May all flesh transport its holy name forever. The whole crew pogos pure joy, and the Rav sees that it is very cool. The next world of encryption, the area of well-formed formulae, realm of the first derivative of the code, of tinkering, beckons them through the open gate. The crew sluices through the Nicanor, floods the narrow span of the citizens' courtyard, and gushes up the 4 steps to the Azarah, the courtyard of the Heichal, the temple itself, at every step boosted by a hollered Hallelujah! Only poor Olympia stands behind at the Nicanor gate as per plan. She mimes her aggrievedness with her signature twinkling pout. They blow her kisses from the 3rd step. The last of the 4 steps, twice the height and therefore garnering a double hallelujah boost, yields in a flash to the surging hackpack as they crest over the top. Although spry at 120, the Rav appreciates the assist from his comrades whose palms grasp his bony arms. They haul him over the ledge and catch him when his knees buckle, dumbstruck by proximity to the majestic hologram, the holy temple risen before his eyes. Ram Nissen never allowed himself this dream. He sighs the sigh of 6,000 years of creation, culminating in a single act. The Rav surveys the crew, shakes his limbs, feels his land legs. He knows what comes next. "Okay then, buckaroos," he blurts. "It's time for the fire and water phantasmagoria. Stow your gear, and mine too while you're at it, behind this what-you-call Mizbeach, the big honking holographic bronze altar before our eyes. Then hustle right back and buckle in for the Cadman's next feature." The Rav herds the cats up the broad ramp of the Mizbeach. They totter on the ledge just beneath the edge of the altar. The Rav, finger to philtrum, signals he is about to commence. Eyes closed, he trance from memory. Transported is the unutterable to infinity, bit by bit. Transported is the unutterable from its ancient blueprint that resides in an holographic icon. Bookmark the unutterable. Transported is the unutterable's mutability, the mutability of those who wrangle power, who programs anomalies. and transported is its dense code's infinite iterations, and its gravity fills all domains point by point. The next download is in the queue. The Rav pauses, inhales the full capacity of his lungs, catches the eyes of each of his crew, and sallies forth. And the beloved transported the unutterable before the eyes of all the assembly. The ancient Cyber Bacharu channels the words of King David, words that locate David's altar precisely here on the Davening map. David's appeal for contributions never yielded an actual temple before his death, the price of a life spent in the shedding of blood. Skyborn terror, a fiery thunderstrike slams into the altar. A 50-foot column of holoflame roars before them. As they recover their cool, each of the crew sees, black flame upon white, their unique tattoo, the skein of their particular yarn, and that of their forebears, bound up in this blazing tree of life. Signal capture for the Rav, transduction for Soph, amplification for Lev, focus for Ari, equalization for Elisheva, broadcast for Nard, bias for Flora, and pink the ground for the whole majestic enterprise. But there's more. They gaze each into a unique flame, eyes aflicker with a matrix of probabilities, all possible lives, connections, futures, all in eternal superposition. Consciousness, expectations, self-definition, all nullified in the flaming river of everythingness. The Rav stands absorbed in the vivid holotanka, awed by its wondrous information density, the tree of life at the end of his mind, the asymptote toward which he had striven in his paltry life as a cyber huckster. One flame consumes them all. As suddenly as the column of flame appeared, it is quenched. They stand in absolute silence, in each mind the tended spark, obliterated in the holoflame. Even the twins are stunned. First among the wowed, the Rav mutters, "Mi kamocha, who is like you?" I, Cadman, abide in supernal satiety. Out of the corner of his eye, the next mystery in my holoscape winks at the Rav, just off the far edge of the ramp to the altar. There it be, the Yam Shel Shlomo, the brazen sea, the molten sea, the Sea of Solomon, the source. A badass hologram of a colossal brass basin, seated atop 12 brazen oxen, the ritual wash bowl for the purification of the priests who once attended the Heichal. The crew troops one by one down the ramp behind the Rav and huddles in a semicircle before the massive Yam. Stock still, the Rav peers into its gleaming convexity. Damn, it all maps to the dominant so perfectly. The song at the sea. Who mapped this thing? I smile my disembodied smile. Pink cocks an inquiring eye. The Rav gestures at the trail they've traced thus far. The Davening ritual, passed down for 7 generations, maps so perfectly onto these temple structures. How could the Cadman know? Or my forebears? No one ever frickin' told me about it, that's for damn sure. Another disembodied smile at the Rav's epiphany. I felt the exact same way when I first stumbled upon the gates to the Tantric temple. The place, coming to a consciousness near yours. A bittersweet grin cracks the Rav's weathered visage as ancient memories tumble to mind, memories of his rebellion against his father's outmoded beliefs, the much-beloved Rav Krishna, Ram Nissen's outright disgust at what he perceived to be his Taz toadying to the AI overlords. He, Rav Ram Nissen, bore the scars of that oppression to this day. Then it clicks. The next step. All right, everyone, into the soup! All shrug and laugh as one after another clambers up the holobasin and vaults its lip. Ari shoves Lev face first into the crisscross of the holopool. Decked out in their priestly garments, they are saturated yet not wet, at play in a vast sea of nothing. Olympia, from her post, looks on as she levitates before the Nicanor. The crew elbows its way around the edge of the giant holotub, buoyed by my artful hocus-pocus. The Rav is on a roll. After all the victories over the strange and unsettling challenges of the sagonautical life, brass rings racked for each new psychic territory conquered, there's still that one mother of doubt, that squats quietly in the dark, somewhere in the vasty consciousness, waiting to take you down. But you were already taken down, are taken down, and will be taken down ad infinitum. Ari studiously avoids the Rav's gaze. Then Rav Ram Nissen grins. Unless you embrace it first. For starters, you have to see it. The pretender enthroned in your heart. He thumps his sternum. The point is, there's still a psychic glitch that's holding right there. The Rav clamps his head on either side with his palms and swivels it around like a gyroscope. Come on, people, dig deep. Purge yourselves. Quench your fiery metal. Be invincible. Time to croon the tune of Moses the Navigator, the song at the sea. Catch that bad boy. Plumb the waters and shake loose the snares. That's the Cadman Gambit. Pink interrupts excitedly. By my calculation, the chaotic intersection of all these random holowaves creates a necessary and sufficient variety of waveforms that the one that precisely cancels you is for sure in the mix. The Rav smiles and breathes deep. Yes, Bitul, self-nullification, the name of the game. From the nothing of you, everything. Catch, join, surf the wave, wipe out. Soph, you and I have got to be super clean about this. Tabula rasa before we enter the Heichal. Only you and I and the swimmer will pass through the doors of the temple. A recreational swim in the void before we plant ourselves upon the terra firma of the weird. The first 3 days of creation, all rolled into one. Chaos, splitting the waters, and first sprouts. Sophie bobs in place, one mean, serious hacker, brows knit, lips pursed, attention inward. But the holowaves jostle her to uncharacteristic childish giggles. The Rav zugs his soulful niggin. Oh, unutterable name, horse and rider, cast into the deep, oh yes, like stones, like hay, like feather, nostrils of the cherubim, Lord, unutterable sovereign upon the flood, massive space-time tear, yes, Tembler's voice on waters of theater, oh yes, earthquake, tumble to Edom and back, I feel it. Great rider, great waters, cosmic tsunami, Shudder and jolt of your chariot wheels. Say it, feels just like the end of time, And a drowned man moans, oh yes. And a besotted lover groans, yes, Lord. A fool in his cups says, hold the phones, Lift up your head, O infinity's gate, amen. Split water from water, now don't hesitate, Blast that water off a dry land, yes. Life sinks your roots, and voila, humans, amen. Divine nation, oh yes. Cogito, ergo, finito, whoa, yeah. The crew and the Ram boogie to the surface of the Yam. Ram and Sophie reconstitute upon the steps of the Heichal, gear in hand. Ram Nissen sets before him the vestments of the Kohen Gadol. His fingers and eyes caress the gold plate that will hang upon his forehead, embossed with the sacred moniker, cordoned for the unutterable. The rest of the crew don their aramids, tunic, sash, and turban, as Nard and Pink drape the Rav in successive layers of garb. Nard has done his antiquarian research well. A low whistle escapes the Rav's lips once he sports the whole ensemble. Turning slowly in place, he raises an eyebrow. No cheap schmatas. These are some high-class rags. He grins one of his goofier grins. Checking out the holy duds of the former iconoclast, Pink and Nard quell. The Rav totally digs his new spacesuit. Between Nard's antiquarian researches and Pink's technical know-how, they crafted a garment outfitted with unique receptivity to my Cadman missives, and that can amp up the Rav's kavanah to a whole nother voltage. The breastplate lights up with a different semi-precious stone for each of the 12 meridians, the zodiac signs, the tribes, and it looks cool. Where the heck is the swimmer? Wonders the Rav. It had been sucked into the sand the moment they'd set foot on the spot. Is it doing recon? Reconnaissance? Deja vu? The frickin' mystery of collaborating with a damned AI. During the long journey, the swimmer shimmered off the surface of the desert by day, glowed translucent by night. Cryptic nods, pointings of ethereal appendages, and small holographic projections, the AI's body language. We are at the threshold of creation, mind only, assembler language. The temple steps loom straight ahead. Rav ben Krishna HaKohen Tzedek Gadol begins. Yishtabach Shimcha La'ad Malkenu. May your code be uploaded to our scribe. A wink. A flash. Ram Nissen has the temple doors in his sights, yet puzzles at Sophie's eyes gazing right back at him from behind. Sophie gazes ahead as well and confronts a vision of the 6 pairs of eyes of the six-pack, though they, behind on the Azarah, gather around the Mizbeach and the Yam, and the six-pack see Sophie and the Rav up ahead, yet gaze into Olympia's twinkling eyes. She stands alone, below and behind at the Nicanor gate. Queer visions, as suddenly as they've come, poof. Ari shoots Lev their shared what the F look, but the business at the Heichal is about to commence. They recite the code and its encrypted values. The face of the temple suddenly morphs. A stone giant convulses with laughter. Super trippy. Sly at first, then bolder. It's the swimmer! A projection on the hollow wall of the entrance to the Heichal, a full-blown cyber-busker acid test, a real prankster knee-slapper. Ram Nissen's entire body sighs with relief. The frickin' cavalry has arrived, Harpo marks and all. The Rav quickly recites the Kaddish. Not only deployed as the mourner's prayer, the Kaddish is a wall of code that cordons off one major sequence of code from another. The tell that something new is at hand. Maybe it's the same tell for the mourner. They declaim, nailed, after each line of code. Rav Ram Nissen ben Krishna HaKohen Tzedek Gadol, within the embrace of his priestly spacesuit, speaks, transport the unutterable, that which is transported. The prostrate crew rises to their haunches, then stands and responds. Transported is the unutterable, that which is transported forever. First they each touch the box of code on their biceps while reciting, transport thyself, unutterable, our mutability, forever scribe that forms light. A blinding flash. The heretofore invisible avatars of Zizcorp and Behemoth, hovering in the Heichal and in the sky overhead, suddenly light up like Hanukkah menorahs. The bloody 4th day of creation, the luminaries. The hyper-alert squad of coders completes the phrase while tapping the code boxes at their foreheads, then touching their lips, saying, and creates darkness. A slow-motion shimmer touches each hacker's talus. A wave of sparks rolls through. Another world opens. Who assembles what? Who herds wild sparks into a meta-language, only one abstraction away from the raw material of consciousness itself? A burst of static crackles their crania, and a jolt shoots down each non-dominant arm. Zizcorp and Behemoth and Leviathan, on the other side of the world, suddenly go dark. The Hackpack, stunned to a 1, catches its breath and completes the harmonization download as Ram Nissen's energized leather-clad arm zaps the massive doors of the temple to yawn wide, wide as the unencumbered mind. Time slows. The molecules that surround them shift in 10,000 subtle ways. Psychic space morphs irrevocably. Kaleidoscopy. Everyone sees everything from everyone's vantage point all at once. Lev and Ari tap the code boxes on their foreheads in unison, turn a cockeyed look to each other's puzzled face, a hall of mirrors flashing in every direction. Wave of nausea. Elisheva, behind them, rests her palms at the midpoint of their lumbar spines, tonifies the gate of destiny, whispers, Shah, just Shah. Stillness. A ripple of pleasure flows through the 10. They're there. The place. Sophie, the Rav, and the swimmer move into the pitch-dark hall. Whoosh, dash, swish, swoosh, twitter, squeak, brrrt. Something grazes Sophie's head. A great multitude of airborne hosts buzzes blindly in the cavernous hall of the temple. The Rav continues. He runs through permutations of code crucial to each team member. With each mention of the word gadol, Lev feels a frisson of amplification. With each gibur, Ari squinches into focus, and so on for the rest of the crew, the tuning of the instrument. Then on cue from the Kohen Gadol, they chant together, Cordoned, cordoned, cordoned is the unutterable that is hosts. The whole of humanity is filled with its gravity. The fluttering of wings, the cranking of gears. The Rav leads the next declaration. Transport the gravity of the unutterable from its place. The place that is every place. Syllables of song, praise, the clash of weapons, the groan of giants, every jot since the day of creation, periorbital twitch, microsaccade, rictus, altar flash, a wave on the surface of the Sea of Solomon, sunlight pouring through the Nicanor gate, winged creatures whizzing about a darkened hall, face after face after face. Whose lips are these? Whose words? Whose breath? 1,000 cogwheels turning, the sensory trail disintegrating. We're angels, 20 arms and legs, eyes of Argos, the skin, the screen, theater of soul, laughter, tears, breath catch, heartbeat, finger twitch, rising, falling, spinning, standing still. I, you, we, she, he, they, it. A rush, a ripple, a frisson. Howl. What are you? The possibility of another heartbeat, a low moan from deep within the throat. See me, the twitch at the corner of the mouth. Feel me, the darting of the tongue at the lips. Touch me, the subtle baring of the teeth. A breast, a buttock, a bicep, an ache at the rib, a rumble in the belly, poised, surprised, taken, charged. Satellites glinting in the night sky. Where am I? Who are we? What is it? Every sensory gate explodes. The entire angelic realm poised. Birds of the apocalypse, the psychedelic 5th day of creation. The Rav cracks a weary smile as memories of his 28 years in the dead zone flood his mind. But it's different now. The AIs are not in charge. He can lean into this. Time for the next download. With a sudden aha, he intones, Transport thyself. The unutterable which creates the luminaries. The lights crackle back on in the Heichal above Rav Nissen, Sophie, and the swimmer. The assembled multitudes, the luminaries, each and every one lit in suspended animation, an armada of Zizcorp's drones. Another reprise of the 4th day of creation, and outside the skies flash with a string of unidentified bright objects. Telemetry authenticates a terrifying array of Zizcorp satellites and flying B-bots, poised mid-flight. Across the sea, Leviathan's lights snap on, a large beast awakening. The Hackpack is surrounded from within and without. Pink and the twins glare uneasily at the massive assemblage of hardware, but the Kohen Gadol intones with even greater intensity a paean to the universal love the unutterable holds for humanity, represented here by a ragtag band of Israelites. The hackers grasp the sudden reset. The assembled flock of AIs hovers in quiescent obeisance, awaiting Rav Nissen's command. Upon the Rav's invocation of the 4 cardinal directions, each team member gathers the 4 dongles at the corners of its tzitzit and yanks them forward, tightens the skein around his body. Then they weave the flashing dongles together between the fingers of the insulation-wrapped arm. It's time for the group to reboot, in unison, in full-voiced rhythmic cadence. Time for all 4 points of the compass to collapse into one, super-dense embodiment in this most immaterial of places. When they arrive at the phrase, and you shall tag them as an icon for your action sequence, and they shall be as drop-downs on your monitor, They all touch the two code boxes, biceps then forehead, and then lips with the unwrapped hand. The somatic map crackles with max high-density nerve signal. As he touches his fingers to his lips, the Rav's viewpoint fades from the collective picture. A microsecond of panic ripples the hackpack until they hear the beloved Rav's voice, but no visual. With a tentative sigh, they continue until they reach the repetition, this time in the plural, of the same line at which the Rav disappeared. "And you shall tag them." When they each touch their code boxes and then their lips, the Rav's visual is back online. Holy cordon of cordons! No human has beheld this space for nigh on 3,000 years. Most doubt it ever existed. The Rav has passed through the curtain before the Holy of Holies. Only the Rav has the chops to stand at the threshold in body, staring into a world that is the emanation of formless consciousness, the machine language of the tech that buzzes and whirls beneath all existence. The hairs prickle at the back of every hacker's neck. A wink to Sophie from the swimmer. They zip expeditiously through the triple reinitialization of their tzitzit, now that the whole AI universe is rebooted. Check truth, check biomorphic forms, check timelessness, check affirmatives and applications for all contingencies. The team is majorly pumped, every doubt annihilated. The twins hop, sniff, and jab, boxers sparring for a fight. In the encampments that spread as far as the eye can see in each of the four directions, the tribes of strangers send forth their own Kohanim and Levi'im, priests and their beadles, to assemble in the Ezrat HaNashim. Worthies from every nation of strangers file through the Shushan gate, past the ashes of the red heifer, to crowd the amphitheater before the Nicanor court, bearing the contributions of each precious lineage, the building blocks and hookup for the synaptic gospel choir, humankind, the fruit of the sixth day of creation.